All right, let's pot up all these Cissus Quadrangularises that we clipped about 5 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. I've got to get them potted. They're getting a little wrinkly. It's hot, so they can't stay out a week. Let's do it. I'm using an orchid pot that I've drilled holes into, put a wire on it so it can hang. These like to hang over and spill over, and they're fast growers once they root. And I'm going to use some landscape fabric to cover the holes so that I don't lose soil through the orchid pot. It's a great way to reuse orchid pots. And I like them for any of the epiphytes because it helps increase the drainage. I'm using my epiphyte soil mixture, which is equal parts ratio of cactus soil, perlite or vermiculite, and orchid bark. And I'm gonna fill it pretty full because I don't want to add soil to this if I can help it after I plant these plants. One thing we have to remember is in order for them to be watered properly, the soil line has to go below this point, because if not, none of this on top gets watered every time I water it. So I probably filled it a little full considering that. Okay, I think that'll be fine because when I water, the soil will go down just a tad. So we'll go with this and see. I do have a little pokey sticky thing in case I need some help getting these into the soil. This soil is very, very dry. Once I pot them up, I'm gonna water it about 1.5 inches. I'm gonna keep it in the shade for a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna be careful not to overwater. So that's the one thing we have to be really careful with. I am going to use a root hormone, but you don't have to use a root hormone for these. They grow pretty quick. I just consider it insurance, and it will help encourage them to grow. So, and then some of the newer ones I've picked off, like this one's kind of new, and I expect it to maybe die, but that's okay. I have enough here that if some die, I still have a full pot. Making sure that I take the bottom and it's calloused over for a few days is I stick it in there and then plop it in the soil. And it's okay to get it kind of far down in there. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on here. I think this section is gonna die. So I'm gonna take my scissors or clippers. I have disinfected these. Clip that off. This is not gonna probably grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a better chance, because the longer, oops, see how I kind of, that one may or may not make it. The longer the stem, the longer it is on here, the more energy the end of the plant has to take, and it takes more time for it to root up. Although these are really easy. In fact, I didn't put rooting hormone on that one, so we'll see how it does. But again, expect to lose some when you do this. They're not all going to propagate, but in fact, well, I'm gonna try this long one just as an experiment and see what happens. I might be able to get it to do right. And I'm gonna need help with this one because it's feeling a little sad, but I feel like it's worth a try. I should have checked on these a little sooner than I did. I've only had them out of the soil callousing over, because you do want them to callus over. If you don't let them callus over, they can rot. So you want to make sure there's a good callus before you pot them up. And it's just super hot here, and they're just really struggling. So even though I would like to wait a week on these guys, I don't think I can. I'm gonna have to get them in, and I'm probably going to have to make some cuts for them to survive. That one's going to be okay, I think. We will put it down here. That one's going to be okay. That one is surprisingly in good shape considering how little in diameter it is. This one, it's actually pretty good, so I'm going to leave it the length that it is. I'm going to kind of put it on the side here. I'm concerned about this one, so I'm going to take off the very top and leave 3 and see how it goes. You can also take the leaves off And that sometimes helps with the energy. What you're wanting to do is you want the plant to use energy to root. You don't really want it spending a lot of energy into growing here. You want it to root first. So, and actually this one's pretty good. I am gonna cut this top one off right here. Still have three big ones. I may even kind of tie these up with some Velcro. I'm just poking my finger down in there. Fingers work really well for this. Make sure you get the right side up. You don't bury them upside down. This one is a little soft, and since I have 1, 2, 3 sections, I'm gonna trim the top one off, and I'm gonna take it right at the cutting right here, the node or whatever it is that you call it, and do like that. And this one, I think this one's toast. I'm not even gonna worry about it because it's super flimsy and I don't think it's gonna root up. Although I normally try it, I'm feeling not too great about that one, and I wanna give these the best opportunity they have. Now, since I'd made some fresh cuts and I am gonna put this outside, I'm gonna grab some cinnamon. Oop. The cinnamon's gotten a little moisture in here, but I'm gonna grab ground cinnamon, and I'm gonna go everywhere where I made a fresh cut, and I'm gonna pack the cinnamon on it. Cinnamon acts as a barrier to water. I mean, it's got lots of different properties, but the biggest reason why I use it is it's hydrophobic, and water will get repelled by the cinnamon. And so you're dealing with less issues from like rain, root rot, or not root rot. You can use it on the roots, but this one I'm just using because I want to make sure that those new cuts don't get moisture in them. All right, I'm gonna give it a water, and then I'm gonna put it outside for 2 weeks in the shade under an awning so I can control the water. Thanks.